Hey everyone! Ever wondered why some things float while others sink? Today we're breaking down density and buoyancy with fun experiments you can try at home or in class. Get ready to make a splash with science! Let's start with a classic experiment. This is a fun and simple way to understand some basic principles of physics. Grab a large bowl of water and a few objects from around your house. You can use a coin, a cork, a small plastic toy, and a rock. Drop each object into the water one by one and observe what happens. Does it sink or float? This is all about density. Density is a measure of how much mass is packed into a given volume. For example, think of a suitcase. If you pack it full of clothes, it will be quite heavy. Now imagine another suitcase of the same size, but this one is filled with feathers. The suitcase filled with clothes is denser because it has more mass in the same volume. Objects that are denser than water, like the coin and rock, will sink to the bottom. On the other hand, objects that are less dense than water, like the cork and plastic toy, will float on the surface. Even massive ships can float because they displace enough water to support their weight. It's all about balance and the principles of buoyancy. Ready for another experiment? Today we're diving into the fascinating world of liquid densities. You'll need a tall glass and household liquids for this experiment. Gather honey, dish soap, water, vegetable oil, and rubbing alcohol. These common liquids will help us create a colorful density stack. Pour each liquid into the glass slowly, starting with honey and ending with rubbing alcohol. Be careful to pour gently to avoid mixing the layers. You'll see a rainbow of liquids stacked on top of each other. Each layer represents a different density. Now drop small objects like a grape, a paperclip, and a bead into the glass. Watch as they fall through the layers. Observe where they settle. Each liquid and object has a different density, causing them to float or sink to different levels. Denser liquids, like honey, are at the bottom, while less dense liquids, like rubbing alcohol, are at the top. This is due to the varying densities of each liquid. It's a density party in a glass. This experiment beautifully demonstrates the concept of density and how different substances interact based on their densities. Did you know you can change an object's ability to float by changing its shape? It's a fascinating concept that ties into the principles of physics and buoyancy. Grab a ball of clay and a bowl of water. This simple experiment will help us understand how shape affects buoyancy. Drop the ball of clay into the water. It sinks, right? This happens because the clay ball is dense and doesn't displace enough water to counteract its weight. Now flatten the clay into a boat shape and place it in the water. The clay boat floats. This is because the new shape allows it to displace more water. By changing the shape, we increase the amount of water it could displace. This is a key factor in making heavy objects float. Ships displace water to stay afloat. Despite their massive weight, their shape allows them to push aside enough water to remain buoyant. The same principle applies here. The shape of the clay boat increases its ability to displace water, making it float. By spreading the clay out, we increased its surface area, allowing it to push aside more water. This increased surface area is crucial for buoyancy. The buoyant force is now strong enough to support the clay boat. This simple experiment demonstrates the power of shape in determining whether an object sinks or floats. Have you ever tried to float an egg in water? It usually sinks. Let's change that. You'll need 2 glasses, 2 eggs, water, and salt. Fill both glasses with water, but add a generous amount of salt to one and stir. Drop 1 egg into each glass. In plain water, the egg sinks. In salt water, the egg floats. Adding salt increases the water's density. The egg, denser than plain water, is less dense than salt water, allowing it to float. This is why it's easier to float in the ocean than in a pool. Get ready for the Cartesian diver. This experiment shows how we can control buoyancy by changing pressure. You'll need a clear plastic bottle, a small ketchup packet, and water. Fill the bottle with water, leaving a bit of air at the top. Place the ketchup packet inside. It should float. Screw the cap on tightly and squeeze the bottle. The packet sinks. Release the pressure and it rises back up. Squeezing increases pressure, compressing the air in the packet, making it denser. Releasing the pressure allows the air to expand, making the packet less dense and float again. Let's explore how temperature affects water density. You'll need 2 glasses, hot water, cold water, and food coloring. Fill one glass with cold water and the other with hot water. Add food coloring to the hot water. Carefully pour the hot colored water into the cold water glass without mixing. The hot water stays on top, creating a layered effect. Hot water is less dense because its molecules move faster and spread out. Cold water molecules are closer together, making it denser. Since hot water is less dense, it floats on top of the cold water. Density and buoyancy explain why things float or sink. Try these experiments and explore how different materials interact with water. What was your favorite experiment? Let us know. And if you enjoyed this video, like, share, and subscribe to School Subjects Online for more fascinating journeys into the unknown. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.